I'm joined by the man Davina McCall credits with saving her life. Neurosurgeon Dr Kevin O'Neill performed the surgery to remove a cyst in Davina's brain last year. And had it gone wrong in any way, it could have caused a stroke, permanently damaged her short-term memory, or even worse. Well, Davina's neurosurgeon, Kevin O'Neill, joins me now. It's so good to see you. I guess you didn't expect all of this, because obviously, you know, Davina is so grateful to you. Of course she is. We've seen articles in the Times, and you're sitting here talking to me because we just want to say thank you to people like yourself that do this job.
Pleasure. I mean, I'm looking at that clip, I couldn't help but start welling up myself.
I know.
You know, when you see it like that in the third person, it's like you see the true impact it has on people.
100%.
As the subject. And, so, no, it's a pleasure to be here and to, you know, expound the experience and you know, her gratefulness for everything and my gratefulness for making people aware of this.
No, absolutely. It's very unusual type of cyst, wasn't it? It's not something that's terribly common.
Yeah, I know. The first thing to say, you know, this was discovered incidentally, we say, with one of these screening scans. In fact, I think she had a whole body scan, but picked up something in her brain. I mean, that's good. If you want, it's a blessing to find something that needs potentially to be dealt with. But on the other side of the coin, you know, when you see these things, it opens up a can of worms potentially. The first thing I would want to say, though, is not for people not to get worried about this. You know, the chance of you harbouring something like this is incredibly rare. It's like, I think it's like 3 in a million. So there was going to be a few hundred people at the most every year with this. But, you know, the whole point about screening is to pick up things that may need to be dealt with. And in her case, it did, you know. I mean...
What if you'd left it? Do you know what would have happened?
Like every pathology, every condition, there's a variation. And some people harbour these things and they live a normal life, they don't know about it. But there's certain aspects, because these are cysts right in a system in the brain where fluid is produced and flows, the fluid, in fact, which the whole central nervous system floats in. And that sits at a junction of the two ventricles, and it can block those, and you can suddenly get a build-up of pressure, which can be life-threatening.
Gosh. So it really had to be.
Well, I think
you have to weigh it up, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, if it was a tiny little thing, you know, you have to, like, you're absolutely right, you have to weigh up, everything's about balance, you have to weigh up the risks of taking this thing out, which are quite vast, versus the risk of leaving it alone. And, you know, the problem with this is these things can grow and they can cause a sudden blockage. There's a very rare chance you can die suddenly from this. But of course, I mean, she's put it out there, I can tell you. But
she has, very much so. She's been very open about it.
Yeah.
She wanted people to know.
Yeah. So hers was of a size which was risky to leave.
Right.
And also, she was mildly symptomatic. I mean, you didn't notice it, but she herself explains that after the operation, she started thinking again, you know. The brain woke up.
Because she kind of thought it might have been menopausal brain fog, you know, because obviously Davina's talked a lot about the menopause, so maybe put it down to that in a way. But it's like, it must be like, and I know you've said this before, defusing a bomb. You're like a bomb disposal expert. I mean, you have to be that cool.
I got a lot of jibes from my colleagues about that.
No, but it's a brilliant analogy for people who obviously don't know what it's like to be a brain surgeon. It's good for the likes of us to sort of go, all right, I get it. I understand that analogy.
Well, I mean, as I said before, you have, you know, your brain is protected. It's a very important organ. To get to it and deal with any pathology, you have to get through all the layers, the skull, and a lot of the blood vessels that supply the brain are on the outside, so you have to work your way through those. And you have to try not to traverse normal brain to get to your target. So we chose a particular approach which gets you right into the middle of the brain without having to go through too many eloquent things. But every approach is dangerous, you know, because your vessel's in the way. And where this thing is sitting, in an area between these fluid-filled cavities, there's a very sensitive thing called the fornix, which is very important for short-term memory. So, worst-case scenario, you know, incredibly important for somebody like Davina.
Of course.
Is that you could lose your short-term... You could be working on a 5-minute memory cycle.
Right.
So, virtually impossible to be a presenter with that kind of deficit.
The trust that she has for you, though, and the relationship that you two have built up is fantastic. It's really good. And the thing about it, when she's your pal for life.
I know.
She really is.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
lovely.
Yeah, no, she's amazing. She is, as you see her, she's an amazing person. So what you see on TV is actually how she is in real life.
Yeah, and any experience that she has, she wants to use it to help other people.
Yeah.
Like she did with the menopause and many other things, problems she's had in her past. She's talked about it. Was there, I mean, I don't know how you managed to do your job. The pressure is extraordinary. Was there more pressure because it was her? Is that mad to ask you that?
Yeah, you know, I think you asked me before, you know, as you get more senior, actually doing things it comes second nature, but you're much more aware of the consequences, you know, of what could go wrong. Whereas when you're innocent, you go in with a bit of bravado. But yeah, I mean, I think obviously you have mechanisms to cope with stress, but when you're dealing with a public figure who you know is going to be dependent entirely on, you know, the area that you're working on, it is a bit stressful.
No, I bet.
I did have a few little moments, but I have to say the operation went incredibly smoothly.
It certainly did.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness me, when you're at dinner parties and people say, and what do you do? It's such a mic drop, isn't it? Well, I'm a brain surgeon. I mean, I knew you'd say neuro, but I'm a brain... Mic drop. It's so lovely to see you. No, brain surgeon's better than rocket scientist. It trumps it. Believe me, it trumps it. So good to see you. Thank you so much, and really reassuring for anybody who would be worried, because I know they would be. So thank you very much. Great to see you.
Pleasure to be here.
Well, that's a wrap for this video. We hope you enjoyed it. We have all the best moments from the show right here on the channel, and if you like this video, then we think you'll love this one. See you next time.